The sky was once a place of awe, of gods and monsters, of mystery and memory. Long before telescopes or satellites, our ancestors tilted their heads upward and saw more than stars. They saw omens, warnings, cycles, and wrath. Today, we call them myths. But when the same stories echo across oceans, continents, and centuries, unchanged in essence but varied in language, perhaps we're not looking at mythology. Perhaps we're looking at memory. A shared trauma so great, it scarred the collective consciousness of the human race. And in this story, the sky isn't a backdrop, it's the main character. Let's begin around 10,800 BCE, at the end of the Pleistocene epoch. The Earth was cold, covered in glaciers, and home to creatures now extinct. Mammoths, saber-toothed cats, giant ground sloths. Then, something changed. Rapidly. A mini ice age known as the Younger Dryas plunged temperatures by 10 degrees Celsius in just a few decades. Crops failed. Megafauna disappeared. Sea levels surged. Civilizations vanished, or never got the chance to begin. For decades, scientists debated the cause of this sudden chaos. But in 2007, a controversial theory emerged, the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. It proposed that a massive comet or asteroid fragmented in the atmosphere and rained down upon Earth, triggering global fires, floods, and atmospheric disruption. The evidence? A layer of platinum-rich sediment found across North America and Greenland, matched by a massive crater beneath the Hiawatha Glacier in northern Greenland, dated to roughly 12,800 years ago. Now consider this. Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey was built right after this event, around 9600 BCE. It is the oldest known megalithic structure on Earth, predating Stonehenge by 6,000 years. No villages surround it. No signs of agriculture. Just massive T-shaped pillars, perfectly carved, aligned to the stars, and decorated with animals, serpents, and celestial symbols. One pillar in particular, Pillar 43, or the Vulture Stone, shows what some scientists believe to be an astronomical chart. In 2017, researchers proposed that it depicts the exact moment of the Younger Dryas impact, capturing the sky as it would have appeared during that cataclysmic event. A comet descending. Death from above. If true, it means Göbekli Tepe wasn't a temple, it was a monument to survival. But Göbekli Tepe is just the beginning. Move west to Egypt. The pyramids of Giza are dated to around 2000 BCE, yet their astronomical alignment suggests knowledge of the sky dating back far earlier. The three pyramids align almost perfectly with Orion's belt, not as it appears today, but as it would have appeared around 10,500 BCE. Coincidence? Or inherited memory? The ancient Egyptians believed their gods came from the stars. Osiris, the god of the underworld, was associated with the constellation Orion. Isis, the mother goddess, was linked to Sirius, the brightest star in our sky. In the pyramid texts, some of the oldest religious writings on Earth, there's a line that says, "The sky wept and the stars fled." What did they see? Jump east to ancient China. The earliest astronomical records date back to the Shang dynasty, around 1600 BCE. But stories of dragons in the sky go back far further. Chinese dragons weren't mere animals. They were celestial forces, often depicted descending from the heavens with fire and fury. In imperial histories, comets and eclipses were seen as signs of divine anger. In the Book of the Later Han, a red star is said to have exploded in the sky, causing floods and famine. In 185 CE, Chinese astronomers recorded the first documented supernova, calling it a guest star. It remained visible for 8 months, burning brighter than any planet. But earlier records speak of dragon-shaped clouds and fire from the heavens, aligning disturbingly well with descriptions of airbursts or meteor storms. Travel now to Mesoamerica. The Maya were master astronomers. Their calendar tracked celestial bodies with uncanny precision. Venus, to them, wasn't just a planet, it was a harbinger of war. But beneath their science was fear. The Popol Vuh, their sacred text, tells of previous worlds destroyed by sky gods. The fourth sun, their current age, is believed to end in fire from above. Sound familiar? The Aztecs, too, believed the sun required blood to stay in motion. Human sacrifice wasn't ritual, it was survival. Without it, they feared, the gods would stop the sky from turning. What kind of trauma imprints that belief so deeply? And across the Pacific, the Aboriginal Australians tell of the Sky Canoe, a vessel that rescued survivors during a global flood. They speak of stars falling, of fire raining down, of a darkness that blotted out the moon. These oral histories date back tens of thousands of years, and they're astonishingly consistent with what geologists say happened during the Younger Dryas. Let's pause here. These cultures had no contact, no shared language, no trade routes, yet their myths are mirror images: a golden age, then fire, then flood, then silence. What they describe may be the same event, seen through different eyes, filtered through generations, retold in the only language they had: story. Modern civilization rarely looks up unless it's for fireworks, drones, or the occasional meteor shower. But to the ancients, the sky was not a distant curiosity. It was alive, predictable, but not tame. They didn't track it for fun, they tracked it for survival. Celestial cycles told them when to plant crops, when to prepare for floods, and when to fear. And fear was woven into the stones they left behind. In Angkor Wat, Cambodia, a temple complex built in the early 12th century, the alignment with the stars is no accident. Its central axis is perfectly tuned to the solstices, while carvings show deities descending from clouds. At Teotihuacan, Mexico, built centuries before the Aztecs ever arrived, the Avenue of the Dead and Pyramid of the Sun are laid out to mirror the path of celestial bodies. These weren't just monuments. They were calendars, beacons, warning systems, built in stone so the sky's message could not be forgotten. But perhaps one of the most disturbing connections lies not in what was recorded, but in what was erased. Consider the end of the Akkadian Empire around 2200 BCE, the world's first true empire. It collapsed suddenly and mysteriously, despite strong governance and military strength. Clay tablets from the time speak of blackened skies, failing crops, and mass exodus. For decades, scholars blamed politics or war. But in 1993, researchers found evidence of a massive climate event, a 300-year drought triggered by a shift in the intertropical convergence zone, possibly initiated by solar anomalies or atmospheric debris. In other words, something in the sky may have doomed the Akkadians. Now look at Mohenjo-Daro, the jewel of the Indus Valley civilization. Around 1900 BCE, it was a bustling metropolis with advanced sanitation, organized streets, and trade networks that stretched across continents. Then, silence. Its people disappeared. Buildings abandoned. Skeletons found face down in the streets, some holding hands, others seemingly fleeing something they couldn't escape. Radiation levels in parts of the city are higher than surrounding regions. Was it a natural disaster or something else? Theories abound, from climate change to river shifts to celestial impact. But one thing is clear, the sky played a role in reshaping their destiny. Across the ocean, the Olmecs of ancient Mesoamerica, who predated even the Maya, carved colossal heads and built complex astronomical observatories. Their downfall, too, is linked to shifting climate, famine, and unexplained celestial phenomena recorded in glyphs as fire serpents and heavenly screams. These were not metaphors. These were memories. And then there's Atlantis. We can't ignore it, even if it's been warped into pseudoscience and fantasy. Plato wrote about Atlantis in 360 BCE, claiming it was a mighty civilization that vanished in a single day and night of misfortune. He placed its destruction at 9,000 years before his time, around 11,600 years ago. That's the exact end of the Younger Dryas. Coincidence? Maybe. But Plato was known for blending metaphor and reality. And now that we're finding megalithic structures underwater off the coasts of India, Japan, and Cuba, some dated older than 10,000 years, the idea of a lost pre-flood civilization isn't so easy to laugh off. Let's return to Egypt. The Great Pyramid of Giza, supposedly built for Pharaoh Khufu around 2560 BCE, has no hieroglyphs inside, no mummy, no treasure, no blueprint. Unlike other pyramids, it seems deliberately empty. Its dimensions encode the ratio of pi and the golden ratio. Its location corresponds with the center of Earth's landmass. Its shafts point precisely to stars in Orion and Sirius, but not as they appear today, as they appeared thousands of years earlier. Egyptologists argue it's all symbolic. That's possible, but what if it's not symbolism? What if it's signal? An ancient device, not electrical, but gravitational, or even harmonic. After all, modern measurements have shown that electromagnetic anomalies exist inside the pyramid's chambers, particularly in the king's chamber, where certain frequencies resonate unnaturally strong. In 2018, researchers from ITMO University in Russia and the Laser Zentrum in Germany discovered that the pyramid can concentrate electromagnetic energy inside certain chambers. They didn't know why. No one does. There are pyramids in China, pyramids in Sudan, pyramids in Indonesia. Even a buried pyramid complex in Bosnia, though still debated, shows astronomical alignment. Nearly every continent has pyramid structures aligned to solstices, equinoxes, and star patterns. If this was a spontaneous human design choice, a coincidence, why the precision? Why the universal alignment to the sky? Because the ancients were terrified, not of each other, of the heavens. And now, modern science is starting to find things that sound a lot like the stories they left behind. If you strip away the poetry, the sacrifices, and the superstition, what's left in ancient sky myths? Patterns. Patterns that match what we now recognize as real, measurable, natural events. Only through the eyes of a civilization without telescopes, satellites, or physics textbooks. They didn't have the vocabulary, but they did have the memory. Let's begin with a moment from our own time, a warning from above that was almost too late. In 2013, a 20-meter meteor exploded over Chelyabinsk, Russia, without warning. It released energy equivalent to 30 Hiroshima bombs and injured over 1,500 people. Windows shattered, buildings cracked. And this was just a fragment, a sliver of rock no one saw coming. Now imagine the Tunguska event in 1908. A comet or asteroid, 50 to 100 meters wide, exploded over Siberia, leveling 80 million trees across 2,150 square kilometers. Witnesses reported a fireball crossing the sky, a shockwave that knocked people down 40 miles away, and strange lights in the sky for days. No crater, no warning, just skyfire. Events like this are not rare in geological terms. They're rare in human memory. But what if human memory remembers more than we think? Now let's rewind 12,800 years. Scientists have found platinum anomalies, microspherules, and nanodiamonds in ice cores from Greenland and soil samples across North America, all consistent with a cosmic impact. This aligns with the onset of the Younger Dryas, a rapid cooling period that lasted over 1,000 years and caused mass extinction, including the end of the mammoths and sudden collapse of the Clovis culture in North America. Did they witness the event? Were they survivors, building monuments not just to worship, but to remember? Consider this. Earth has been hit before. 65 million years ago, Chicxulub asteroid. Dinosaurs gone. 12,800 years ago, Younger Dryas event, human history reset. Every 100 years, objects like Tunguska remind us the sky still holds secrets. So, when cultures describe gods falling, stars warring, or dragons in the clouds, it might not be metaphor, it might be memory. Generational trauma wrapped in myth. But it's not just impacts. Let's talk solar. In 774 CE, Tree rings recorded an intense spike in carbon-14 levels, suggesting an extreme solar storm. It was 10-20 times more powerful than anything in recorded history. If it happened today, it could fry satellites, black out power grids, and collapse digital infrastructure globally. The sun is quiet until it isn't. The Carrington event in 1859 is the most recent major solar storm. Telegraph wires sparked. Operators were shocked. Aurora lights were seen as far south as the Caribbean. Again, if that happened today, the damage could be in the trillions. Ancient peoples likely experienced these storms, too. But without electronics, they saw the sky change colors, stars vanish, or new ones emerge. They described it the only way they could: gods, dragons, wrath. And then there's something stranger. In 2019, the Cavemen Observatory in Canada picked up a repeating radio signal, a fast radio burst, from a galaxy 500 million light-years away. It repeated every 16 to 35 days. Burst. Silence. Burst. Silence. For weeks. Then, nothing. The signal, known as FRB 1809116 JA158+65, vanished. This isn't science fiction, it's a real event. Some say it's from a magnetar or pulsar. Others think it might have been a message. But what matters isn't what we believe. What matters is, if we are now detecting signals that repeat, what might ancient minds have heard and interpreted differently? Could they have seen lights in the sky, not stars, that moved against the heavens? Could they have recorded those events in mythic language as star serpents or gods of thunder? This brings us to something deeply unsettling.